My husband cheated on me with a rich cougar. During the divorce, our daughter insisted on going with him. I knew that woman wasn't a good person, so I gave up everything and left with nothing just to get custody. I raised my daughter with everything I had. She got into a top college, landed a great job. And then the news broke. Her father and that woman's new daughter had inherited the family business. My daughter snapped. She swapped out my asthma meds. When I begged her to save me, she stared down at me coldly and screamed, "If it weren't for you, I'd be a billionaire heiress by now. That money should have been mine. Just die already." I died, choking, gasping, in disbelief. Then, I opened my eyes. It was the day I was negotiating the divorce with her father again. This time, I didn't fight for custody. She wanted to be that psycho's daughter? Fine. Let her. In my last life, I'd insisted on keeping her because I knew the truth about that woman, Diana Quinn. She wasn't just some wealthy sweetheart. Before she got involved with my husband, Alan, she'd had 3 kids. All of them mysteriously died of illnesses, right here in my hospital. I suspected foul play, but I never had proof. Then her husband died, and within months, she was with Alan. The only condition? He had to bring our daughter Bella with him. I was terrified something would happen to Bella, so I refused to let her go. Alan had no choice but to settle. If I wouldn't give up the child, I had to give up everything else, the house, the savings. I agreed, just to protect her. I worked night and day to raise Bella right. She found a good job, married a kind man. I thought my life had come full circle. But when Bella heard Diana's daughter was inheriting billions, she lost her mind, and killed me for it. So now, sitting across from Alan and Bella, I didn't argue. I let her go. "If it weren't for you," Bella screamed again, echoing her past life words, "I'd be living in a mansion. I'd be rich. You should just die." I collapsed on the floor from an asthma attack. Bella stood over me, clutching my inhaler, watching me struggle. I never imagined the daughter I raised with my own hands would choose wealth over my life. The moment I heard those words again, I knew. This time things would be different. Chapter 2. You're not my mother anymore. Say you're sorry to me, I told Bella calmly. Bella rolled her eyes. Without hesitation, she wrapped her arms tightly around her father's arm and snapped, "I'm not apologizing. You're just a bitter old witch. You don't deserve to be my mom. Aunt Diana is sweet and rich. She buys me snacks every time she sees me. Not like you. You throw a fit over a bag of chips. I don't want you as my mom. I want Aunt Diana." Alan grinned smugly. "You hear that? Bella's been miserable with your strict rules for years. She'll be better off with me. Let her go, and she'll finally have the future she deserves." I didn't let him finish. I walked up to Bella and slapped her. Twice. I'd never hit her before. The room went completely still. "You hit me?" "One slap for being vicious enough to stand there watching your mother beg for her life. The other for your shameless entitlement. From this moment on, we're done. I raised you, I taught you, but now, you're nothing to me. If you see me on the street, walk the other way. If you don't, I'll slap you again." Alan stared at me in shock. He looked like he didn't even recognize me anymore. He opened his mouth to speak, but I shot him a glare. He instantly shut it. Bella, now sobbing, clung to Alan. "Dad, take me away. She's crazy. She'll kill me. I'm scared." "You don't have to be scared," I said coldly. "Go with your dad. From this day on, the house, the car, and every cent in our accounts are mine. Now both of you, get out. Tomorrow we sign the divorce papers." Alan grabbed Bella's hand and ran like his life depended on it. Bella was in such a rush she slammed into the doorframe on the way out. They looked like 2 fugitives running from a monster. As I watched them flee, my chest finally felt light again. Then I turned to the house. I emptied all the drawers, counted the cash. Between the savings, the car, and the market value of the house, I'd be walking away with about $200,000. In my previous life, Alan had used that exact amount to curry favor with Diana Quinn. That's how he finally weaseled his way into being her live-in boy toy. Diana had never intended to marry him, but when she saw how generous he was, she gave in. They had 2 children, but neither survived long. Eventually, when she could no longer bear children, she used a surrogate. That child made it, but with disabilities, developmental delays and physical defects. By then, Alan was totally used up. Diana had moved on to a younger man, and Alan could only suffer in silence as she cheated again and again. Eventually he lost his mind and died in a murder-suicide. Their surviving daughter inherited everything. Knowing what I know now, I was almost excited to see how Bella's future would unfold. Chapter 3. The Jade Pendant. The next day, Alan and I went to finalize the divorce paperwork. Bella came along, clinging to Diana Quinn like a prized possession. Alan, probably still scheming for a share of the assets, actually had the nerve to suggest, "Why not put everything in Bella's name? You're a woman handling that much money alone. It's not safe. People might target you. Besides, you love her, don't you? I don't want a single penny, just put it under her name." I smiled and shook my head. "No. What's mine is mine. But if you want the money so badly, then give me Bella back." Bella instantly panicked, assuming I was trying to take back custody. She flung herself into Diana's arms. "Mommy, save me. I don't want to go with that old witch. Please talk to Daddy. She's just after some dumb house and car. I don't want anything. I just want you." I never intended to take her back. I just wanted to rattle them a little. But I didn't expect Bella to humiliate me in public like that. Her outburst drew attention. Diana, ever the drama queen, lifted her chin, soaking in the stares. She gently stroked Bella's head and said in her sugary voice, "Alan, it's just a little money. Are you really going to argue over that? Bella is my daughter now. She'll have everything she wants." I couldn't let her gloat. "Bella," I said flatly, "since you have such a rich new mom, you probably don't care about that jade pendant anymore, right? Hand it back." That pendant was a family heirloom, a peace charm passed down for generations. My mother gave it to Bella to protect her because she'd always been sickly as a child. In my last life, Bella secretly sold it behind my back. When I found out, I slapped her across the face. She held that grudge until the day I died. That day, she came home with my favorite snacks, pretending to make peace, just before she let me suffocate. Now, hearing my demand, Bella hesitated. "What?" I said mockingly. "Don't tell me your rich new mommy can't even afford a new pendant to keep you safe? Or maybe you still care about me after all? Planning to come crawling back someday with that little trinket in hand?" Bella glanced at Diana, saw the storm brewing in her expression, and panicked. To prove her loyalty, she yanked the pendant from her neck and slammed it onto the floor, screaming. Then she lunged at me, trying to claw my face, and kicked me hard in the stomach. Alan rushed over, more out of fear than concern, and pulled her off. But he didn't dare lay a finger on me. He'd seen what I could do now. Diana just stood there. She'd always claimed she loved Bella like her own, but when I slapped the girl earlier, Diana looked almost pleased. Later, Bella, furious at being slapped, actually called the cops on me. She told them I was abusing a child. I ended up at the police station. Me, a lifelong law-abiding pediatrician, arrested because of my own daughter. Granted, they only held me briefly. The officers gave me a verbal warning and let me go. As I walked out, Bella glared at me with pure hatred. I smiled coldly and mimed another slap. She flinched. After the divorce was finalized, I sold everything, the house, the car, and moved into a small studio near the hospital with $200,000 in cash. I kept $50,000 for living expenses and put the rest into a savings account to collect interest. And it turned out that was the smartest move I could have made. Because just a few days later, Alan came knocking, asking for money. Chapter 4. No more ties. Alan had the audacity to show up at my door just days after the divorce. "You're really heartless, you know that?" He scowled. "You sold the house and the car? You didn't think about saving any of it for your daughter?" I stared at him, utterly unimpressed. In our last life, I thought, she didn't leave me a single cent. Yet now you're here accusing me? "She's not my daughter anymore," I said aloud. "We made that clear the day we signed the papers. I took the assets and I cut all ties with Bella. That's what she wanted. We even signed an agreement. No matter what happens in the future, whether I live or die, rich or poor, we don't interfere in each other's lives." I had it in writing. Bella herself insisted on it. For someone who's not even legally an adult, she sure knew how to protect her own interests. In a twisted way, I admired that. At least I wouldn't have to deal with her ever again. Alan's tone shifted. "Come on, she's still your daughter. Doesn't part of you feel anything for her? I gave a bitter laugh. I raised her alone for years. Did she ever feel anything for me? I would have killed for that girl. And what did she do? Swap my meds and watch me die. You were there. You saw it. He shut up after that. Then came the real reason for his visit. Fine. I'll cut to the chase. Bella's sick. She needs money for treatment. A lot. Sick? I narrowed my eyes. She was fine 3 days ago. Sure, she'd always been a bit frail. But I took such good care of her over the years. She was no different from any normal kid. What the hell happened in 3 days? Unless... My worst suspicions were true. Was Diana Quinn doing something to her? Didn't you say your new wife is loaded? I asked pointedly. Why not ask her for money? Or are you trying to humiliate her by begging your ex for cash? Alan flinched. We're not married yet. She has no legal obligation to pay for Bella's care. But you... I cut in sharply, have an agreement. No contact. No responsibility. If Bella's sick and you can't care for her, that sounds like your failure as a parent. I could sue for custody. I watched the panic bloom in his eyes. I remembered Diana had made one thing very clear. Alan had to bring Bella with him, or she'd find someone else. You'd better think this through, I added. Alan left the hospital quietly. But that night, he returned, with Bella in a wheelchair. She really was sick. And it was serious. Chapter 5. Seafood and Suspicion. Bella's condition was worse than I expected. Her entire body was swollen with an extreme allergic reaction, anaphylaxis level. If not treated quickly, it could be fatal. As a pediatric specialist, I immediately gathered colleagues and began emergency treatment. It took hours to stabilize her. 3 days later, Diana Quinn finally arrived at the hospital. She waltzed in with a smug smile and a thermos in her hand. How's my baby? Is she awake yet? I made her some premium seafood stew. Imported ingredients. Seafood? Bella inherited Alan's shellfish allergy. Alan knew that. Why hadn't he stopped her? I glanced at Alan, whose eyes darted away in guilt. Let her rest, he said quickly. She'll eat when she wakes up. Oh? Diana turned to me with a fake smile. Didn't know you were here, Dr. Sue. My bad. I didn't realize your kid was so... delicate. What kind of mom raises a child who won't eat anything unless it's imported and expensive? I smiled coldly. If this had been the past, seeing Bella like this would have broken me. But not anymore. I'd given that child my best. Luxury school district housing, healthy food, top education, all while working long shifts. And now, I was just the old witch. Bella's delicate, all right, I said. You're going to have a rough time raising her. But hey, you're rich. That makes you practically a saint these days. Money trumps biology. Before I left, I gave Alan one final warning. Your daughter has a severe seafood allergy. Don't play games. Truthfully, I said it to protect myself as a doctor. If Bella died in this hospital, they'd come after me, not her glamorous new mom. Bella remained unconscious for 3 full days. When she finally woke up, the first thing she saw was Diana beaming down at her, holding a bowl of seafood porridge. My baby, you're awake. I made this myself. No added oils or spices, just light and healthy. You should eat. Bella's face contorted in panic. I'm allergic. I can't eat this. It'll make me sick. Please don't make me eat it. Diana's smile darkened. Oh, sweetheart, don't be silly. You're perfectly healthy. That allergy nonsense was just something your other mommy made up to scare you. It's all in your head. The only way to overcome it is to eat through it. She lifted the spoon to Bella's mouth. Bella shook her head violently, eyes pleading for help, at Alan, who turned away like a coward. I couldn't take it anymore. I burst into the room, knocked the bowl from Diana's hands and shouted, She's allergic! You feed her that and she dies. You're going to jail. Do you even understand what you're doing? Bella looked up at me, tears pooling in her eyes, not from pain but from something that looked a lot like gratitude. I didn't do it out of motherly love. I did it because I had suspicions. We'd run blood work on Bella while she was unconscious. The results were off. Her blood contained a strange foreign compound, not toxic per se, but abnormal. I couldn't ignore it. Diana had bragged that all her seafood was imported from overseas. I needed that porridge tested. But my interference gave Diana ammunition. Oh, I see. Typical jealous ex-wife. Doesn't want the stepmom feeding her precious baby girl, huh? She scoffed. This bowl of soup cost thousands, flown in from Europe. You wouldn't understand. You never wanted to spend money on her. She burst into dramatic tears, clinging to Alan. Alan turned to me, voice low and threatening. Dr. Sue, this isn't your family anymore. You chose money over your daughter. Stay out of our lives. I nearly laughed. Alan, always the coward, had never cared about Bella, especially not when she was born. His mother had brought 2 chickens to the hospital, hoping for a grandson. When she saw it was a girl, she took the chickens back. And when Bella got sick all the time as a baby, Alan showed no concern. Just like now, willing to trade her safety for Diana's approval. Diana kept up her act, sobbing to the nurses and anyone who would listen. Being a stepmom is so hard. I spent thousands on this kid, and all I get in return is insults. Alan began fighting with me in the hospital hallway. You abandoned your daughter. You chose money over her. She nearly died because of you. He even sat on the floor with Bella, wailing until the hospital considered suspending me. By the end of Bella's week-long stay, my reputation was in shambles. Parents didn't want me treating their kids anymore. The hospital put me on leave. I wasn't even considered for next quarter's promotions. All because I tried to save a girl who wanted me dead. But I couldn't let Diana keep poisoning kids. I'm a doctor. I can turn my back on my own traitorous daughter, but not on innocent lives. I had the seafood porridge sample sent for testing, and just as I feared, something inside it wasn't right. Chapter 6, The White Mouse. There was one silver lining. Bella's allergic reactions were getting worse. She nearly went into shock from the last exposure, finally prompting the authorities to take notice. The police got involved. That meant Diana couldn't force seafood into Bella anymore. Around that time, my former mentor reached out. I heard what happened, he said. I have a spot in a pediatric research program in the next city. It's short-term training. Want in? I couldn't practice for the time being anyway, so I agreed. A month later, I returned to the hospital. My license was restored, but patients avoided me like I carried a disease. I wasn't bothered. I had bigger plans. On what I thought would be a slow day in my clinic, a wheelchair rolled in. It was Bella. Mom, she said weakly, I'm sick. I can't walk anymore. She looked like a skeleton. Her cheeks were sunken, her arms like twigs. What happened to you? That woman, Diana, she said I have brittle bone disease. If I move too much, I fracture. My legs have broken multiple times. I'll never walk again. She lifted her blanket. Her legs were twisted at unnatural angles. I stared in horror. I had raised this girl from birth. I would have known if she had bone disease. This wasn't genetic. This was inflicted. What have you been eating? What supplements? I don't know, she whispered. Tons of calcium pills, protein powders. But I've only gotten worse. I ordered a full body exam and admitted her immediately. Where's your dad? I asked. She gave a bitter smile. He doesn't care. Diana's pregnant. After that, he never looked at me again. She told him I was trying to kill her baby. He pushed me down the stairs and banned me from seeing a doctor. That's how my legs ended up like this. So Alan had pushed his own daughter, just to protect a child that wasn't even born yet. I clenched my jaw. There was no point in rage, it wouldn't undo the damage. But I could get evidence. I pulled Bella's records and compared them with the hospital's seafood sample test. The results were chilling. The porridge Diana brought was filled with unknown foreign compounds, likely radioactive. Not enough to harm adults, but devastating to children. I submitted everything to the police. That day, Bella sat in my clinic asking for money. Mom, I don't have any cash. Can you help me? A couple thousand is all I need. The hospital can load funds directly into your treatment account, I replied. I can do it myself. Just transfer me the money. You can't walk. I'll handle it for you. She panicked. Please. Just let me do it. I stood and moved to the counter, repositioning my phone as I went. She lunged, grabbed my sleeve, and with a dramatic yell, toppled from her wheelchair onto the floor. Ah! It hurts! Right on cue, Alan burst into the room, camera crew in tow. Dad! Bella cried, clutching her arm. She hit me. She's trying to throw me out. Alan rushed to her, completely ignoring her so-called brittle bones. He yanked her upright by the arm, likely breaking it further. How could you? He screamed at me. She's your daughter. She has brittle bones, and you're dragging her? I asked icily. You were the pediatrician. How did you not know she had this disease, and now you're tossing her around like trash? He turned to the camera and played the grieving father. She just wanted her mom, but her mom only cared about money. That's why I had to leave. I had to protect her. They kept sobbing, hugging, accusing. The camera crew backed out. Then Alan dropped the act. All right, enough of this. Where's the money? I smirked. That was all this was. An act. Blackmail with a video. I'm not stupid, I said. You two staged this whole thing for cash? Alan scoffed. It's not a stage. Bella's sick. She needs treatment. And it's your fault for missing her diagnosis. You should have caught this years ago. You mean during the 6 full-body checkups I personally ran while she lived with me? All clean? But now, after 1 month with Diana, she's suddenly sick? He froze. If you don't want me to go public with your child abuse, I said, get out. Bella's eyes flicked with doubt. You're just trying to scare us. Then explain this. Why do you know nothing about your daughter's real health, Dad? Alan stammered. I leaned closer. I have her full medical file. If I press charges for poisoning and abuse, you're both done. They turned pale. Then Bella, desperate, tried one last trick. Mom, why are you doing this? You want to destroy me? She didn't realize I had already turned on my phone camera. The entire encounter was being streamed to a medical seminar. Liv, her fake fall, Alan's performance, their accusations, captured and saved. When they saw the phone screen, both went stiff. You were recording us? Not a recording. A seminar. With witnesses. Medical professionals who now have reason to suspect child endangerment and poisoning. Bella sobbed. Alan cursed. But I didn't care. I just watched as they fell apart. Again. Chapter 7. The truth comes out. The seminar wasn't just recorded, it was public. Dozens of medical experts had been watching the entire exchange. They saw Bella's symptoms. They heard Alan deny responsibility. And most importantly, they listened as I explained her sudden diagnosis of brittle bone disease and the abnormal toxins found in her blood. Their conclusion was unanimous. Bella needed immediate medical intervention. But Alan refused. Because here's the truth. Alan and Diana never officially married in this life. Last time, he used the $200,000 from the divorce to buy Diana a rare gemstone, and she agreed to the wedding. This time, he had no gemstone. No money, no marriage license. Diana wasn't Bella's legal guardian and had no obligation to pay her bills, which meant the full responsibility fell on Alan. And if he still refused to treat her, that was neglect. Possibly even child abuse. The hospital had a duty to report it. The police were called. Bella was admitted. Soon after, the press caught wind of the story. Headlines flooded the local news. Teen girl with rare disease allegedly poisoned by stepmother's food. And just like that, Diana Quinn rushed to the hospital, crying, screaming, putting on a show for every camera in sight. Oh, my sweet baby. I'll pay for everything. I don't care what it costs. She sobbed. I just want her to live. She painted herself as the noble, misunderstood stepmother. But I wasn't fooled. Because I had a theory, and it was a dark one. I believed Diana had Munchausen by proxy, a psychological disorder where a caregiver causes or fabricates illness in someone to gain sympathy and attention. And this wasn't her first time. Her 3 previous children had all died of brittle bone complications. Suspiciously, just like Bella. Coincidence? I didn't think so. If it were a genetic condition, it couldn't affect Bella. She wasn't Diana's biological child. Bella was mine and Alan's, which meant the real cause had to be environmental, something Diana gave her. Like those seafood stews, I passed everything to the police. With their help, the hospital conducted another full toxicology screening. The results were damning. Bella's body contained traces of radioactive material, not enough to hurt adults, but extremely dangerous to growing children. The source? Imported seafood. Diana had been slowly poisoning her. When the report was placed in front of Alan, he went pale. Child abuse. Criminal neglect. Poisoning a minor. Alan and Diana were arrested. Alan was stunned, speechless. Bella screamed as Diana was led away in cuffs. Was she crying for her ruined life? Her shattered dreams? Her broken body? I didn't know. I didn't care. I watched it all and felt nothing but relief. It was finally over. Chapter 8. No redemption left. After the arrests, I filed for resignation. I was done with that hospital. I had already accepted an offer to join my mentor and other researchers overseas for pediatric medical aid work. My visa was ready. My bags were packed. I just needed to tie up loose ends. But of course, they wouldn't let me leave in peace. Alan showed up at my apartment. With Bella. She was gaunt, pale, confined to a wheelchair. Her legs permanently deformed. Her eyes were hollow. "Mom," she whispered, "please, help me. I know I messed up, but I'm in so much pain. I don't want to die." "Dr. Sue," Alan added, "please. You're the only one who can help her now." I didn't respond. I had no interest in reuniting with them. I had a flight to catch, data to publish, and research to finish. We had obtained multiple samples of the imported seafood Diana had used. Analysis confirmed the radioactive compounds were uniquely harmful to developing children. Pediatric specialists across the country were watching our study closely. And I had something no one else had. Bella's entire medical history. Every scan. Every blood panel. From healthy child to irreversible disease. That data would save lives. But we needed ongoing samples. So my mentor approached Bella with an offer. Full medical treatment in exchange for her consent to participate in the research. Bella refused. She didn't want to be a lab rat. Only after I personally visited her did she agree. When I entered her hospital room, she looked like a ghost of the girl I once raised. "Mom," she said, voice trembling. "Take me home. I don't want to stay here. I feel like a science experiment." "Home?" I repeated coldly. "You don't have one. You gave that up the day you tried to kill me." "I was wrong. Doesn't matter now. Diana's getting out soon. She's pregnant and diagnosed with a psychiatric disorder. The charges won't stick. She'll be free." Bella's face turned gray. "So, what's it going to be?" I asked. "Stay here and let us help you. Or go back to her." Bella broke. She agreed to stay in the program. Her treatment began. It was grueling. The radioactive compounds had damaged her bones beyond repair. We tried everything. But the truth was, there was no cure. Only research, only palliative care. When our study concluded, I returned home to pack. And that's when it happened. Bella, now out of the study, had nowhere to go. She and Alan began loitering outside my apartment day and night, begging me to take her in. My neighbors filed complaints. I called the police, but the officers shrugged. "She's your biological daughter. We can't arrest her for existing." The breaking point came when I learned Diana, because of her pregnancy and mental health, would not be imprisoned. It hit me like a thunderbolt. That night, I opened my door and let Bella and Alan in. I kept a camera rolling the entire time. Bella, now disabled, dragged herself to make tea for me. Alan tried to sleep in my bed. The footage was disgusting. I sent every clip to Diana. At dawn, my door was nearly torn off its hinges. "Alan, Bella, you two backstabbing vermin, get out here." Diana's voice was unhinged. Alan and Bella froze, terrified. "Do something," Alan whispered. "I never want to see her again. She disgusts me. You don't know what it's like being with her. She stinks, she's clingy, and she's a freak in bed." I laughed and lifted my phone. The screen read, "Call in progress, Diana Quinn." I opened the door. Diana lunged. She clawed Alan's face, kicked Bella across the floor, and dragged them both away screaming. I didn't see them again. Not for years. But I heard things. Alan was deep in debt to Diana. He could never leave her. So, to survive, he offered Bella up. Diana tortured the girl day and night, breaking bones that never had time to heal. Bella became a sack of shattered limbs, a monster of a body, broken beyond repair. Until one night, Bella lit the stove and opened the gas. She took Alan and Diana with her. When I read the news, I felt nothing but peace. I eventually adopted children of my own, threw myself into medicine, and spent the rest of my life helping others. But sometimes, in the quiet of night, I still remember the daughter I raised. and how she chose money over love. End. Subscribe the channel for more shocking stories. Updates every day.